Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining once again for a new publication of LatinNCAP Phase 10. In this case, it's the 7th publication of results. The Ford Figo was the first one tested, the Volkswagen Tiguan made in Mexico, and the Volkswagen Jetta made in Mexico as well. Summary of cars: it's the Ford Figo made in India, 4 airbags as standard and ESC. The Volkswagen Tiguan made in Mexico, 6 airbags and ESC. Volkswagen Jetta made in Mexico, 6 airbags and ESC. First results published this opportunity: the Ford Figo, 4 airbags as standard, ESC, 4 stars for adults, 4 stars for child occupant protection. It's important to highlight overall the protection of the car, but marginal protection for the chest of the adult, front and side impact, even with the side body airbags and the adequate protection for the head. Frontal crash in real speed. Now we are watching the slow motion speed frontal crash unstable structure for this car, with the unstable structure and seat belts and airbag just for the driver was marginal in terms of protection, as well as the femurs. Also good protection for the passenger side, and child occupants, both of them were installed using isofix anchorages with isofix seats, and showing a good protection in the frontal crash, as we are watching now. Now we're watching the 3-year-old, and a top view of the Figo unstable structure. As I remind you, is counting points. Side impact of this car: intrusion in the compartment was higher than expected, and comparing to similar vehicles, this is too much, but the side body airbags could prevent certain injuries in the adult in the side impact, which allowed the car to reach the star rating that we have published in this opportunity of 4 stars. Child occupants on the side impact protection was very good on this vehicle. We're watching now once again rear view of the side impact protection. As mentioned, a high intrusion on the side impact. We're now watching the ESC test that was performed on this car. Was without any trouble, meeting the very basic standard GTR 8 on regulations, on UN regulations. Now we're watching the robot from the inside operating without any trouble, any problem for this car. Volkswagen Tiguan, 6 airbags as standard in ESC, 5 stars for adults and 5 stars for child occupant protection. Advanced award for pedestrian protection and advanced award for AV availability as well. Good protection overall for the adults in the front, side and tail impact, as we are watching now. Live real speed frontal crash, now slow motion frontal crash video. This car showed stable structure on the side impact, on the frontal impact, and good protection overall for the adults, thanks to the airbags and also the pretensioners, as well as the steering column and the collapsible system on this vehicle. Both child dummies on this car were installed using the standard isofix connectors, and both of them were installed rearward facing, which is basically the global standards, a new global standard for these cars. Recommended as good protection for children to have both of them sitting, or let's say 3-year-olds sitting also rearward facing. Side impact protection now on slow motion, curtain airbags and body airbags, both of them worked well, and very good coordinated structure also prevented intrusion in the compartment, and all of that gave good scoring on the side impact protection. Both child occupants on the side impact also received good protection. And now we're watching finally the last shot, side impact rear view on this vehicle, also from the top view. Good structure, not too much intrusion. Now we're watching the pole impact test on real speed. The pole impact test, we're testing the protection of the head in this very critical crash test. The curtain airbag and side body airbags, both of them worked perfectly well to prevent the head of the dummy receive any kind of injuries, with good protection. That's actually matching for a 5-star requirement on the passive safety occupant protection conditions from LatinNCAP side. We are now watching the ESC test. ESC, according to regulation GTR 8, also tested with robots. This car offered or matched, let's say, the criteria required by GTR 8 on ESC. We're watching now the pedestrian protection testing for the T1 offered pedestrian protection according to regulation 127. This is the reason why this car was also awarded, once achieved the 5 stars with advanced awards. AEB is optional on this car and it was tested and it worked, and that's the reason why this car was also awarded with an advanced award in AEB availability. The last one of this publication, Volkswagen Jetta, 6 airbags and ESC standard, 5 stars for adults and 5 stars for child occupant protection, with 2 advanced awards on pedestrian protection and AEB availability as well. Good protection overall for the occupants, as we can see in the dummy coloring. Real speed frontal crash. We now want to watch the slow motion frontal crash, as we can see there. Stable structure, stable footwell area, good combination of seat belts, pretensioners and steering column as well, to offer good protection for both adults in the front. And in the same way as the T1 is apparently a policy of the car manufacturer, now both child dummies are being installed rearward facing, following the latest recommendations, the latest global best recommendations on child occupant protection. And that was let's say represented or leaded to this good result, full protection in points for both child dummies, and reaching that car the 5 stars for adult occupant protection, for child occupant protection. We're watching now the side impact test, now in slow motion. We have seen good protection from both airbags on the side and the structure as well that prevented intrusion. After the test and everything was deployed, we noticed that the door opened, and even this is not desirable, it actually was affected the full points of the car on the side impact. Good protection for the child dummies on the side impact for both of them, once again rearward facing both child dummies, and that secured a good performance, good protection for this the child occupants. Top view for the side impact, good structure also on the side impact together with the airbags. And we're watching now the pole impact in real speed and normal speed. We are assessing here the head protection thanks to the body and curtain airbags. Both of them secured a good protection for the adult dummy on this car. And under these severe conditions, that means that this car is showing all the passive safety requirements to meet the 5 stars for LatinNCAP on adults and children as well. We are now going to watch the ESC testing. We're watching at this point ESC without any problem for this car, being tested under regulation GTR 8 conditions. This vehicle met these requirements without any problems. We're watching now in slow motion the view for the robots, and we're watching also the pedestrian testing, head impact on pedestrian testing as well on this car, which met actually your regulation 127 requirements also for the leg. So this car actually meets regulation 127 for pedestrian protection. Last but not least, AEB being tested in this car. AEB is optional, and with the AEB and also with the pedestrian protection, this car is being awarded with 2 advanced awards. Summary of results: the Ford Figo, 4 stars for adults, 4 stars for child occupant protection. This car has 4 standard airbags, 2 front and 2 side body airbags with ESC. This car had unstable structure in the frontal crash and high penetration in the side impact as well. The Volkswagen T1, 6 airbags are standard and ESC, 5 stars for adults and 5 stars for child occupant protection. And the car received the advanced award for pedestrian and advanced award for the AEB as well. In terms of the performance of the ESC of the T1, we would have liked to see different performance and improved performance in the ESC. However, the ESC test met the requirements of regulation GTR 8 from the United Nations. Last but not least is a Volkswagen Jetta, 6 airbags are standard and ESC, 5 stars for adults, 5 stars for child occupant protection, advanced award for pedestrian protection, which is standard, and AEB, which is optional for this car, but both of them granted the advanced awards for these 2 vehicles. We thank you very much once again for joining our publication, and before we say goodbye, we would like to acknowledge our main supporters, the Global NCAP, Bloomberg Philanthropies, ICRT, FI Foundation and the IADB. Thank you so much for all your support. Without you or without them, and altogether this